Hello, everyone. So I'm going to just go ahead and jump right into this week's discussion board post. And basically, all we're supposed to do is discuss what we learned from Cassidy K. Wood's article and then just kind of ask 2 questions that we have. So similarly to other readings from this class, Cassidy K. Wood 2019 provides a great deal of information when it comes to working with rural persons that struggle with mental health issues, and they explain why as a society we should focus on them. Mental health issues are definitely something we should focus on as the impacts are immense. Cassidy K. Wood explained that mental health issues do not just affect individuals dealing with it, but also greatly impact society, as the examples on page 1 include concerns with deteriorated family functioning, decreased workforce participation, and increased health care costs. So all of these factors that are affected by mental illnesses should motivate providers and even politicians to make changes in order to create a healthy society. So I personally never really took into consideration these factors and only had ever focused on the individual and how it affects only them solely and not the community. So this kind of makes me ask the question, what can we do as social workers to raise awareness to leaders on why this issue is critical to having a healthy society? How do we make them aware that having proper mental health care in rural areas is really going to benefit society and the economy, right? And how do we make them see that mental health does not simply affect the individual, but rather everybody around them? So they're not the only ones being affected. And how do we let society know that, hey, this is having an impact on you too? So I raise these questions because according to Cassidy K. Wood, little financial support is given to the causes of economic and social vulnerabilities and disparities in health. So they're providing little to no focus on this. And in turn, we're seeing low workforce, issues with family, the family unit, and things like that. Cassidy and K. Wood also discussed that when it comes specifically to rural mental health issues, there is no data proving that they have more mental health issues than urban areas, but rather that those living in rural communities receive far less treatment for their mental health issues than their urban counterparts. So this is greatly due to the fact that there's not enough providers. Distance is an issue. They also discussed that for some, it might be difficult to reach out for help, or they don't believe in receiving help from outside sources. And so because they're not receiving as much mental health care, we actually kind of see the effects of it. And Cassidy K. Wood does provide us with some statistics saying that half of all adults will experience some sort of mental health issues during their life. Also, that rural persons have higher suicide rates, except for non-Hispanic whites, and that over 50% of rural persons have experienced at least one ACE, which is the scoring system that looks into childhood trauma. And of that 50%, 10 to 15% of rural individuals experience very high ACE scores. So this shows that there is still a great need in rural communities for mental health services. So even though they're a smaller part of the population, there's still a big need there. And Cassidy K. Wood state on page 3 that 62% of designated mental health professional shortage areas were in rural areas as of June 2019. So on top of it, these areas are smaller, right? But they're experiencing even greater shortages than their urban counterparts. So this brings me to my next question, which is, how do rural communities get the funding to incentivize mental health providers to go to rural areas to really get those professionals in there and get the people the help that they do need? Working in rural areas comes with a great challenge, and finding professionals that are willing to go is a struggle. I know that many of our readings have discussed the idea of telehealth services, but how would one reach those only willing to meet in person? And how would one work with those that have no access to internet? So telehealth only goes so far. So how do we get those professionals to come into the areas? And basically the only solution I can think of to both the questions from earlier and the questions from this section is really advocating for rural clients. This could look like writing grants and showing up to public meetings to speak on behalf of the rural community to kind of show awareness. But I look forward to hearing from other people's perspectives and ideas as well. Thank you.